I saw Sausage Party. It was alright. Sausage Party was basically exactly what I walked in expecting it to be. A Seth Rogen film. Seth Rogen is a man that I am openly, deeply jealous of. If I could be reincarnated as any specific person, it would be him but with Chris Pratt's arms. How I adore the concept of going out into the world and being able to make, loosely speaking, the exact same movie over and over and over, but each time lightly marinated as different genres. You go into this one movie thinking it's about a shotgun marriage, and it is, but then you flip to the next one and it has all of the same characters and all of the same scenes and all of the same jokes, but it's vaguely disguised with a new plot thread. It's not that I outright hate Rogen's style of films, but it's more that I kind of find them to be misguided in their imitations of previous stuff made by the talent in question. Did Sausage Party really need 5 to 10 scenes of foodstuffs doing weed around a fire? Does it really even make any actual sense? No, and no. That's the thing about Sausage Party. Its heart is in the right place. Toy Story is a film that not enough people have set out to lampoon. While it's a timeless classic, the in-universe idea is kind of weird and inconsistent. The toys in that franchise seem to see being played with and given attention to by these children almost as a spiritual, or yes, sexual experience. Like that being a toy for this child means reaching enlightenment itself. It's a simple idea done to give kids a new take on what playtime means to them, but it leaves a door open for possibilities that the film doesn't feel comfortable exploring. Setting out to say all food is alive and then deciding to follow those consequences to the very edge is kind of a funny concept. Because there is an instantly messed up idea that you could use to trick audiences. Sausage Party tries to market itself as a dark, twisted take on that concept disguised as a cute little Pixar film, but it's really not. The first previews of the film suggested that throughout the entire intro, the narrative was going to be presented as a tiny little kids movie. That idea as a joke only works if you do what the first trailer did and hold off the profanity until the movie introduces the idea of this being more than a little kids movie. This film doesn't do that, because that would be subtle and clever, and it prefers to do over-the-top offensiveness from frame number 1. There's cursing throughout the entire movie, and it really loses its charm pretty quickly. It's pretty clear that cursing itself is supposed to be a joke that we are to laugh at, but it isn't very funny because it happens every 10 seconds. The juxtaposition evaporates because it never actually feels like the kind of film that wouldn't be doing stuff like cursing and having sex jokes every 20 seconds. While watching this movie, I kept asking myself so many questions. Like, what does the events of the film look like outside of the bath salts food vision? How could the outer world possibly interpret all of the stuff that happens that involves food using their hands and their feet that clearly wouldn't work in the real world? When the main characters touch fingertips, what is that supposed to be? They don't have hands or feet in the real world. Is this a Toy Story thing where the food comes alive only when no one is around? Well, no, because they're constantly running around and acting out certain events in front of humans, and humans just don't react. There has to be a real-world parallel for what this looks like. Like when the hot dogs jump on the windowsill and the human cuts one of them in half while standing up, what does that look like? How is the human perceiving this? Why doesn't the clerk stop the woman from buying open packages? When food is cut up into new food, does that new food have a brand new consciousness? A hot dog is like 700 kinds of meat mushed together into a paste and then shot out as a little tube. Shouldn't the main character be a zombified corpse of hundreds of different kinds of food? What decides what makes certain products in the store alive? It's more than just the food. There's tons of stuff that we see that walks and talks that are just average things sold by the store. Why don't knives have eyes and a mouth like all the other products do? When do products gain consciousness? Do they become alive by the nature of the fact that they're going to be sold to humans? Or are they alive as soon as they come out of the factory? How do they understand most of the ideas that involve them being food, like that they expire after a couple weeks? Yet they don't know that humans eat them. These are all thoughts and questions that Sausage Party would incorporate into the comedy or satire if it was actually trying to be a subversive experience. Instead, they try and find the simplest jokes to make out of the universe, and then they just start making crap up afterwards. Once they run out of jokes about poop being alive and toilet paper being alive, they start adding new aspects that goes against everything that they've set up so far. Like, each section of the store suddenly has like a mini building. The liquor section has a giant party room, and the Mexican section has like this old west saloon. So it's like food fight now, but nothing so far has set up this to be anything like food fight. Where did they get these buildings? Are they Christmas decorations they stole in the past? What is the point of having a bar when the people going to the bar are alcohol and food? What happens at the bar? What are they served? Do they just sit around and talk? How is some of the beer drunk? What are they drunk on? Have they been drinking each other? Are they drunk on themselves? Are they born drunk? And what about that weed circle? Where do the cast members get this weed? Do they steal it from the employees? Do they make it themselves? Does someone sell weed in the back of the store and they keep stealing it? Is the weed alive? Are any of the drugs alive? If your automatic response to any of these questions that I just listed off is anything along the lines of they just do, or that's how the movie decides to do it, or shut up and just laugh at the jokes, then you're only representing how bare bones this film is. Just because is by far the least funny explanation of something that anyone could possibly come up with. You can't say that this is an intelligent, self-aware spoof of the Toy Story mold when the film won't even acknowledge its own inconsistencies and or concepts for the sake of satire. Like, and I might regret saying this later on, but you know what's a movie that does this idea better? B-movie. Yes, B-movie. That B-movie. The one with the Seinfeld B.
Hi. I'm tweaking!
Whoa, dude, just take it easy. Just breathe, dude, just breathe. You're not tweaking, you're just peeking, man. Just.
Like Sausage Party, B-movie sets out to ask one of the fundamental questions purposefully ignored by Toy Story. What would happen if these inanimate objects suddenly just spoke out and told the humans the truth? In B-movie, the main character reveals himself to a human and then starts a civil rights campaign to give the honey back to the bee community.
I'm helping him sue the human race.
What?
Throughout the film, there's a ton of references to civil rights movements of the past and present, but everything is vague enough that you will kinda only get confused if you try to make any comparisons or pull any meaning from the movie. Like, his civil rights movement destroys the planet and they decide to undo the civil rights movement. What is that trying to say? The joke is that there is no metaphor. It's literally a movie that someone made about what would happen if bees sought out civil rights as equal beings to humans. That's fucking hilarious. And sure, B-movie didn't have a universe consistent with the real world, and it did have a lot of culture references not relevant to the plot, but it still considered its universe when coming up with a lot of its material. Just as an easy example, they constantly talk about the fact that when a bee stings someone, the bee dies or can die. If Rogan had made B-movie, he wouldn't have done that because it would have been something that he would choose to ignore in replacement for edgelord Nazi jokes about Jews' persecution. Sausage Party is committed to breaking boundaries in terms of what it has to be in only a few minor aspects. Cursing, violence, sex. Narratively, it still is squeamish about approaching obvious topics. Like, the main characters spend most of the movie walking around the aisles of a grocery store for like 12 hours. And unlike in real life, they never get, fucking gross. I've worked at the kind of places depicted in this movie before. I know that most nights the floor is not properly cleaned, So just imagine the food in this film is rolling around in dust bunnies for like an entire night. At most, I recall seeing the bun character have a splash stain on her for like 2 seconds. And at the end of the movie, after they've, spoiler alert, killed all of the humans in the building, suddenly the movie is fine with ignoring reality. Would there really not be anyone in the store that the food couldn't get to? Like a security guard? Would the owner really never show up? I get that the food are powerful and everything, but someone could torch that place and they would all be gone in 2 seconds. And finally, once again, why haven't any of them expired by the end of the film? If I leave a bun out overnight, I can use it to hammer in nails the next day. Hot dogs get all gross and slimy after a few days of their package being opened. And the rest of the food would be even more disgusting. But despite the fact that they make a big deal out of the set-in-stone immortal characters, no one dies of natural causes in this movie. Possibly because it would be a real bummer. I mean, you have to end it on a happy note. It's a Seth Rogen film. They always have to be happy together forever and ever. But how to get around the fact that they are all perishable foodstuffs that will rot away and die? Well, just send them to an alternate dimension, of course. I'm not making that up. At the end of the movie, it's not an in-joke, it's the actual end of the movie that plays before the first set of credits. The food realize that they are in a piece of fiction. And the Stephen Hawking gum makes a Stargate so they can go and kill all the people who voiced them or something. That's what we're dealing with here, people. A film that doesn't answer 90% of the funniest questions that beg to be acknowledged, but still breaks the fourth wall and has the cast go off to kill the people making the movie. It's that confused on what it means to be a clever, self-aware product, that simply ending with a giant fourth wall riff makes the package complete. Sausage Party is a mild smile kind of movie. I don't recall laughing even once, not even a chuckle, but to be fair, it's not my kind of movie, obviously. But hell, if you fail where even the Ghostbusters reboot managed to succeed, something went wrong. Despite this, Sausage Party is a kind of must-see, just because it's a cinematic experience. It's a Seth Rogen movie that looks like a Pixar movie. An R-rated 3D movie is rare enough in our current film market that just that aspect alone makes it something that's easy to sit through. Could it have been better and more creative? Yes. Is it possible that as more movies come out inspired by Sausage Party that do the concept better, the magic that makes it cool now will slowly start to fade away with age? Absolutely. But I can't pull myself to protest it too much, and it's not that much of a waste of money. Not sure if I would say that you need to see it in the theater, but I really do recommend it as something that you see at least once. So, did you like this video? Was I a little too harsh on the movie? Was I not harsh enough? What did you think of Sausage Party? Are you going to see it? And if you did, are you looking forward to seeing the next project by the team behind this one? Or was that the last straw for you? Be sure to leave your thoughts in the comment box below. If you liked this video, hit that button down below. If you hated it, then be honest and click the one right next to it. Until next time, I've been Quinton Kyle Hoover, and that's all you need.